Commander Zefix's crystalline fingers trembled as the emergency transmission crackled through the Galactic Empire's primary communication array. The massive holographic display showed a small blue planet spinning peacefully in the outer rim of the Milky Way, completely unaware of the cosmic storm heading directly toward it. "Sir, the quantum cascade is accelerating faster than our models predicted," reported Lieutenant Vex, his purple scales shifting nervously. "The dimensional rift will reach the Sol system in 72 standard hours, not the 120 we initially calculated." Zefix closed all four of his eyes and tried to calm his racing hearts. In his 300 years of service to the Empire, he had never faced a crisis of this magnitude. The dimensional rift wasn't just any ordinary spatial anomaly. It was a tear in reality itself, consuming entire star systems and reducing them to quantum foam. 17 civilizations had already been devoured by the expanding void, their billions of inhabitants erased from existence in mere moments. "Have we established communication with the humans yet?" Zefix asked, knowing the answer would not be good news. "Negative, sir. The bureaucratic protocols require approval from the High Council before we can make first contact with any pre-warp civilization. The request has been submitted, but you know how these things work." Zefix did indeed know how these things worked. The Galactic Empire was a marvel of organization spanning 47 galaxies, but that same organization moved like a cosmic glacier when it came to making decisions. Forms needed to be filed in triplicate. Committees needed to review the situation. Subcommittees needed to review the committees. Environmental impact studies needed to be conducted. Cultural contamination assessments needed to be completed. The process could take months, even years. The humans didn't have months. They had less than 3 days. "Sir, incoming transmission from High Command," announced Communications Officer Krill, her tentacles dancing over the control panel. The image of Grand Admiral Nexus materialized in the center of the bridge. His ancient, weathered face showed the weight of commanding an empire that contained over 14 trillion sentient beings. Behind him, the golden spires of the capital world Zentori Prime stretched toward the heavens. "Commander Zefix, I trust you understand the gravity of the situation," the Grand Admiral said without preamble. "The dimensional rift represents an existential threat not just to the Sol system, but potentially to our entire galactic cluster." "Yes, sir, I've reviewed all the data. If we don't act soon, the cascade effect could reach critical mass and expand beyond our ability to contain it." "Indeed, however, the High Council has made their position clear. We cannot violate the Prime Directive. Direct intervention in pre-warp civilizations is forbidden under Article 47 of the Galactic Constitution. The cultural contamination risks are simply too great." Zefix felt his stomach sink. "Sir, with respect, we're talking about the extinction of an entire species. Surely there must be some exception clause, some emergency provision." "The law is the law, Commander. We have, however, authorized you to send a standard warning transmission. The humans will receive notification of the impending threat through their primitive radio telescopes. What they do with that information is up to them." The transmission ended, leaving Zefix staring at the empty space where the hologram had been. A warning transmission. To a civilization that barely had functioning space flight. Against a cosmic phenomenon that had already destroyed worlds with technology millions of years more advanced than Earth's. "Sir," Lieutenant Vex's voice was hesitant. "The warning message has been prepared according to standard protocols. It includes technical specifications for the dimensional rift, projected impact coordinates, and suggested evacuation procedures." "Evacuation procedures," Zefix repeated bitterly. "For a species that hasn't even established a permanent colony on their own moon, where exactly are 8 billion humans supposed to evacuate to?" The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of the ship's quantum processors. Zefix walked to the observation deck and gazed out at the star field. Somewhere out there on that small blue world, 8 billion sentient beings were going about their daily lives. They were falling in love, raising children, creating art, exploring the mysteries of their universe. They had no idea that in less than 72 hours they would cease to exist. "Sir, there is one thing," said Science Officer Tallman, his massive insectoid form clicking nervously. "Our long-range sensors have detected some unusual activity in the Sol system." "What kind of activity?" "Energy signatures that don't match human technology, at least not the human technology we have on file. There are massive power spikes coming from multiple locations across their planet. Industrial signatures that suggest they're building something big, really big. Zephix frowned. According to the Empire's records, humans were barely capable of chemical propulsion. Their most advanced spacecraft could barely reach their nearest planetary neighbor. Could our sensors be malfunctioning? I've run 3 full diagnostic cycles, sir. The readings are accurate. Whatever the humans are building, they're using power sources that shouldn't be possible with their technological level. Show me. The main display shifted to show Earth in high resolution. Across the planet's surface, brilliant points of light pulsed with incredible energy. Massive construction projects sprawled across continents. In Earth's orbit, dozens of structures were taking shape that dwarfed anything in the Empire's database of human capabilities. "How is this possible?" Zephix whispered. "Sir," Communications Officer Krill announced suddenly, her voice filled with amazement. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's directed at us specifically." "That's impossible. We haven't even sent our warning yet." "The transmission is coming through on quantum frequencies, sir. The humans appear to have developed faster-than-light communication." Zephix stared at the display in shock. "Put it through." The image that appeared on the main screen was of a human woman, middle-aged with graying hair and intelligent eyes. She wore what appeared to be a military uniform, but not from any Earth nation in the Empire's database. Behind her, banks of advanced computer equipment hummed with activity. "This is General Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Initiative," the woman said calmly. "We received your people's sensor sweeps approximately 6 hours ago. We know you're out there, and we know you know about the dimensional rift heading our way." Zephix exchanged glances with his crew. The woman's calm demeanor was unsettling. She spoke as if she had been expecting this contact all along. "We appreciate the heads-up about the cosmic threat," General Chen continued, "but we wanted to let you know that Earth is handling the situation. We've been tracking the dimensional anomaly for the past 14 months. Our defensive preparations are nearly complete." "Defensive preparations," Lieutenant Vex whispered. "What could they possibly prepare that would help against a dimensional rift?" General Chen seemed to hear the question across the vast distance of space. "We know what you're thinking. How could a pre-warp civilization possibly defend against something that destroyed the hegemony worlds? The answer is simple. We're not the same species you have in your files." The transmission shifted to show a view of Earth's solar system, but it wasn't the solar system from the Empire's records. Massive orbital platforms surrounded not just Earth, but Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn as well. Fleets of sleek spacecraft moved between the planets with impossible speed. Most shocking of all, there was a structure around the sun itself, some kind of partial Dyson sphere that was harvesting stellar energy on an unimaginable scale. "Human civilization underwent what we call the Great Acceleration approximately 30 years ago," General Chen explained. "We discovered faster-than-light physics through an entirely different approach than most species. While others focused on warping spacetime, we learned to manipulate quantum probability itself." The image shifted again to show the inside of what appeared to be a command center. Thousands of humans worked at stations that looked more advanced than anything on the Empire's most sophisticated vessels. Holographic displays showed real-time data streams from across the galaxy, including detailed maps of the dimensional rift's progression. "We've been watching the galactic community for decades," General Chen said. "We know about the Empire, the various federations, the trade leagues. We also know about their bureaucratic limitations. That's why we prepared for this threat ourselves." Zephix finally found his voice. "General Chen, I am Commander Zephix of the Imperial Survey Corps. What you're showing us should be impossible. Our records indicate that human civilization only achieved spaceflight within the last century." "Your records are incomplete, Commander. Deliberately so. We've been very careful about what signals we allow to escape our solar system. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and we preferred to develop our capabilities in private before announcing ourselves to the cosmic community." "But the Prime Directive," Lieutenant Vex began. "Doesn't apply to us," General Chen interrupted. "We didn't receive outside assistance. We developed everything you see through our own research and ingenuity. Earth's greatest strength has always been our diversity of thought and our willingness to take risks that other species consider too dangerous." The transmission showed a new image. massive particle accelerators that ringed entire continents, quantum computers that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously, fusion reactors that could power entire star systems. But most impressive were the humans themselves. They moved with purpose and efficiency that put even the Empire's best crews to shame. The dimensional rift will arrive in approximately 67 hours, General Chen continued. We'll be ready. Earth has constructed a quantum stabilization network that will not only protect our solar system but actively repair the dimensional damage. The rift will stop here. General, Zephyx said carefully, with all due respect, 17 civilizations with technology far beyond what you're showing me have already been consumed by this anomaly. The hegemony had reality manipulators. The crystalline union could restructure matter at the atomic level. The hegemony and the others tried to fight the rift using conventional physics, General Chen interrupted. They tried to patch reality like fixing a broken wall. We're taking a different approach. Instead of fighting the rift, we're going to heal the underlying cause. The transmission showed a complex three-dimensional model of the dimensional rift. Unlike the Empire's models, which showed it as an unstoppable expanding void, the human model revealed intricate patterns and structures within the chaos. The rift isn't random destruction, General Chen explained. It's a cascade failure in the quantum substrate that underlies all reality. The failure started when the ancients attempted to breach the barrier between dimensions over 1,000,000 years ago. Every civilization that has tried to stop it has only made the problem worse by adding more energy to an already unstable system. Zephyx stared at the display in amazement. The human model was showing details about the rift that the Empire's best scientists had never discovered. How do you heal something like that? By doing what humans do best, Commander. We improvise. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Imperial vessel in stunned silence. Finally, Lieutenant Vex spoke what they were all thinking. Sir, if the humans are right about this, if they can actually stop the dimensional rift, then we're about to witness either the greatest triumph or the greatest disaster in galactic history, Zephyx finished. He turned to his communications officer. Krill, open a channel to High Command. They need to know about this immediately. Sir, shall I recommend that we offer assistance to the humans? Zephyx looked out at the star field again, his mind racing with possibilities. No, Lieutenant. I think we're about to learn that the humans don't need our help. In fact, I suspect we're all going to need theirs. As the Imperial ship maintained its position at the edge of the Sol system, its crew could only wait and watch as humanity prepared to face a cosmic threat that had already destroyed civilizations millions of years older than their own. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. The Galactic Empire, with all its vast knowledge and technology, could do nothing but send a warning. Meanwhile, the supposedly primitive humans were preparing to save not just themselves, but potentially the entire galaxy. In 67 hours, they would all discover whether human ingenuity could succeed where the combined wisdom of 47 galaxies had failed. The emergency session of the Galactic High Council convened within 6 hours of Commander Zephyx's report, shattering every protocol for parliamentary procedure in the Empire's history. Representatives from hundreds of species materialized as holograms in the Great Chamber on Centauri Prime, their various forms of agitation and disbelief creating a cacophony that could be felt across dimensional space. Grand Admiral Nexus stood at the center podium, his weathered face grave as he addressed the assembly. Behind him, the massive display showed real-time images of the Sol system that had been forwarded from Zephyx's ship. The orbital constructions, the partial Dyson sphere, the fleets of impossible spacecraft, all of it defied everything the Empire thought it knew about human civilization. Honored representatives, Nexus began, his voice cutting through the noise. We are facing a situation without precedent in our recorded history. A precontact civilization has not only achieved technological parity with our most advanced members, but may possess capabilities that exceed our own. Councillor Thresh of the Dominion Collective raised his massive crystalline form. This has to be a deception, some kind of holographic projection designed to make us believe they're more advanced than they actually are. No species develops this rapidly without outside intervention. The sensor readings have been verified by 17 different Imperial vessels using quantum-locked verification protocols, Nexus replied. What we're seeing is real. Then someone violated the Prime Directive. declared Ambassador Vexter of the hegemony remnants, her energy form flickering with indignation. No species achieves faster-than-light physics without guidance from an established civilization. The humans must have received outside assistance. Our investigation found no evidence of external intervention, Grand Admiral Nexus said patiently. According to our deep space monitoring stations, no authorized vessels have entered the Sol system for the past 3 centuries. The humans appear to have developed their technology through independent research. The chamber erupted in protests and accusations. Representatives demanded investigations, called for military intervention, and questioned the competence of Imperial intelligence services. Through it all, one voice remained silent, Elder Kess of the Ancient Watchers, the oldest known sentient being in the galaxy. Finally, the Elder spoke, her voice carrying the weight of eons. Perhaps it is time to admit that we do not know everything about the nature of technological development. The chamber fell silent. Elder Kess rarely spoke during council sessions, but when she did, even the most arrogant species listened with respect. In my lifetime, I have witnessed the rise and fall of 47 major civilizations, the Elder continued. Each believed they understood the fundamental laws that govern advancement and growth. Each was surprised when a younger species exceeded their expectations. But Elder, protested Counselor Thresh, the physics alone make this impossible. The humans would need to have made breakthroughs in quantum mechanics, stellar engineering, and dimensional physics simultaneously. That level of parallel development has never been recorded. Never been recorded by us, Elder Kess corrected. There is a difference. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial survey ship, Commander Zephyx was discovering just how little they actually knew about human capabilities. His science officer, Tallman, had been monitoring Earth's communications for the past 12 hours, and the data he was collecting challenged everything in Imperial scientific databases. "Sir, I need to show you something," Tallman said, his insected form practically vibrating with excitement. "The humans aren't just preparing to defend against the dimensional rift. They're coordinating a response that spans their entire solar system." The main display showed a 3-dimensional map of the Sol system. Thousands of contact points pulsed with activity as human vessels moved between planets with surgical precision. But what caught Zephyx's attention was the pattern of their movements. "Tallman, this coordination network. It's more sophisticated than our own fleet management systems." "That's not the remarkable part, sir. Watch this." Tallman manipulated the display to show the timing of the movements. Every ship, every orbital platform, every construction project was synchronized to the microsecond across billions of kilometers of space. They're treating their entire solar system as a single coordinated machine. Lieutenant Vex looked up from his station. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from Earth. It's General Chen again." "Put her through." General Chen's image appeared on the main screen. This time, she wasn't alone. Behind her stood a diverse group of humans representing what appeared to be different specializations. One wore the markings of an engineer, another the insignia of a scientist, a third appeared to be a military strategist. "Commander Zephyx, I hope you've had time to digest the information we shared earlier," Chen said. "I'm transmitting additional data that should help your government understand our capabilities and intentions." "General, I'll be direct with you. My superiors are having difficulty accepting that your civilization could have developed such advanced technology independently. They're demanding proof that you haven't received outside assistance." Chen smiled, and for a moment, Zephyx glimpsed something in her expression that reminded him why humans had survived and thrived on a world that was hostile to most forms of life. It was the look of someone who had faced impossible odds before and found a way to win. "Commander, let me ask you something. How long has the Galactic Empire existed?" "Approximately 12,000 standard years," Zephyx replied, unsure where the conversation was heading. "And in those 12,000 years, how many times has the Empire faced an existential threat that required completely rethinking their fundamental approach to technology and survival?" Zephyx paused. The Empire has faced many challenges, but our technological and governmental frameworks have proven remarkably stable." "Exactly. Stability is the Empire's great strength, but it's also a limitation. Earth is different. Human civilization has faced extinction-level events approximately every 1,000 years throughout our recorded history. Ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, global pandemics, we've survived them all by learning to adapt faster than the threats could kill us. The human standing next to Chen stepped forward. I'm Dr. Sarah Martinez, director of the Quantum Physics Research Institute. Commander, may I ask about your species' approach to faster-than-light travel? We use controlled gravitational manipulation to create stable wormholes through folded spacetime, Zephyx answered, though he wasn't sure why he was providing technical details to a supposedly primitive species. Fascinating. We tried that approach about 40 years ago. It works, but it's terribly inefficient. We discovered that instead of warping spacetime, we could manipulate the probability matrices that determine quantum outcomes. By convincing reality that our ships were already at their destinations, we could achieve instantaneous travel with virtually no energy expenditure. Tallman's mandibles clicked in amazement. That should be impossible. The energy requirements for quantum probability manipulation on that scale would require the output of an entire star. Dr. Martinez smiled. Only if you try to brute force the mathematics. We discovered that reality has a sense of humor. It's much easier to achieve impossible results if you approach them sideways rather than head-on. Another human stepped forward, wearing what appeared to be engineering insignia. I'm Chief Engineer Robert Kim. Commander, your ships use matter-antimatter reactions for primary power, correct? Yes, it's the most efficient energy source known to galactic science. We use controlled micro-black holes. They're about 1 billion times more efficient, and they let us tap into the zero-point energy field that underlies all spacetime. The trick is not trying to contain them, but convincing them to want to stay where we put them. Commander Zephyx felt a strange sensation that he realized was his worldview fundamentally shifting. Everything the humans were describing violated established physics, yet they spoke about it as casually as discussing the weather. General Chen, he said slowly, what you're describing. It sounds like your species approaches science and technology from a completely different philosophical foundation than the rest of the galactic community. That's exactly right, Commander. Most species we've observed try to dominate their environment through superior force or control. Humans learn to survive by cooperation and creative problem-solving. We don't try to force reality to obey us, we negotiate with it. Negotiate with reality. Think about it this way, Chen said. The universe is incredibly complex, but it also seems to have a built-in preference for elegant solutions. Most species try to achieve their goals through overwhelming technological superiority. Humans learn to achieve the same results by finding the path of least resistance. The transmission shifted to show one of Earth's orbital construction sites. Massive structures were taking shape, but instead of the brute force industrial approach used by most galactic civilizations, the humans appeared to be growing their technology organically. Molecular assemblers worked in perfect harmony, creating structures that seemed to build themselves. The dimensional rift is essentially a wound in reality, Dr. Martinez explained. Most civilizations have tried to heal it by applying more energy, more force, more technological power. But wounds don't heal through force. They heal through patient care and the right conditions for natural recovery. What we're building, Engineer Kim added, isn't a weapon or a defensive barrier. It's a quantum medical facility. We're going to perform surgery on spacetime itself. Commander Zephyx stared at the display showing Earth's preparations. What he had initially interpreted as defensive positions were actually something far more ambitious and far more dangerous. General, you're not just trying to stop the dimensional rift. You're trying to heal it completely. That's right, Commander. The rift has been growing for over 1 million years, consuming civilizations and spreading chaos throughout the galaxy. Someone needs to fix the underlying problem, or it will eventually consume everything. But the risk, Zephyx began, is enormous, Chen agreed. If we're wrong, we could accelerate the collapse and destroy not just our solar system, but potentially destabilize local spacetime across several galactic sectors. But if we're right, we'll not only save Earth, we'll save everyone. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge crew in contemplative silence. Finally, Lieutenant Vex spoke what they were all thinking. Sir, they're either the most brilliant species in galactic history, or they're about to cause the greatest disaster ever recorded. Yes, Zephyx replied, watching as human vessels continued their intricate dance across the solar system. The problem is, we won't know which until it's too late to stop them. In the distance, the dimensional rift continued its inexorable approach toward Earth, now less than 40 hours away from contact. And throughout human space, 8 billion people worked with calm determination to attempt something that no civilization in galactic history had ever tried. Not just survival, but the complete healing of a cosmic wound that had been bleeding reality for over 1 million years. The next 36 hours would determine not just the fate of humanity, but possibly the future of the entire galaxy. 24 hours before the dimensional rift would reach Earth's orbital space, the Sol system had transformed into something that defied every principle of military engineering known to galactic science. From his position at the edge of the system, Commander Zefix watched through advanced sensors as humanity's true capabilities finally revealed themselves in their full scope. "Sir," Science Officer Tallman announced, his voice filled with something approaching religious awe, "I'm detecting quantum resonance patterns that shouldn't be possible. The humans have synchronized the orbital periods of their entire solar system." "Explain that again, Lieutenant." "They've altered the gravitational relationships between their planets, sir. Every world in their system is now orbiting in perfect harmonic resonance. Jupiter, Mars, Venus, even their asteroid belt, everything is moving in synchronized patterns that create a stable quantum field encompassing their entire star system." Lieutenant Vex looked up from his console, his purple scales flickering with amazement. "Sir, that would require computational power on a scale that our empire couldn't match with every quantum processor in our fleet combined." "The computational power isn't the impressive part," Tallman continued. "It's the fact that they convinced gravity itself to cooperate. They're not forcing these orbital changes. The planets are moving willingly." Before Zefix could process this information fully, Communications Officer Krill announced another transmission from Earth. But this time, it wasn't General Chen. The image that appeared showed a young human male, perhaps in his early 30s, standing in what appeared to be a control room that extended beyond the limits of the visual frame. "Greetings, Commander Zefix. I'm Dr. James Park, Director of the Sol System Harmonics Project. General Chen asked me to provide you with a technical briefing on our defensive preparations, since your science officer seems particularly interested in our methodology. Dr. Park, what we're observing from your system challenges our fundamental understanding of physics. Are you seriously telling me that you've altered planetary orbits?" "Not altered, Commander, optimized. Every celestial body in our system is now positioned to create standing wave patterns in the quantum substrate. Think of it as turning our entire solar system into a musical instrument, where each planet is a note in a chord that resonates with the fundamental frequency of reality itself." Dr. Park manipulated controls off-screen, and the display showed a three-dimensional representation of the Sol system that took Zefix's breath away. Instead of the chaotic orbital mechanics that characterized most star systems, Earth's solar system now moved with the precision of a cosmic clockwork. But more than that, each planetary movement generated visible waves in space-time itself, creating patterns of incredible beauty and complexity. "The dimensional rift," Dr. Park explained, "is essentially a discord in the music of reality. It's a place where the harmonic frequencies that hold space-time together have become corrupted. Most species try to fight discord with noise. They throw more energy at the problem, creating more chaos. And your approach? We're going to surround the discord with harmony. When the rift enters our system, it will encounter quantum frequencies that will gradually retune its chaotic patterns back into stable space-time." Tallman leaned forward at his station. "Dr. Park, the energy requirements for maintaining harmonic resonance across an entire star system would be astronomical. How are you powering this?" Dr. Park smiled, and Zefix was beginning to recognize that particular human expression as a warning sign. "We're not powering it, Officer Tallman. We're convincing the universe to power itself. Every harmonic resonance we create generates more energy than it consumes, because we're working with natural forces rather than against them." "That violates the second law of thermodynamics," Tallman protested. "Only if you assume that the universe is a closed system," Dr. Park replied. "But space-time is connected to higher dimensions that most species can't perceive. We've learned to tap into those connections." The transmission shifted to show the partial Dyson sphere that surrounded Earth's sun. But what Zefix had initially assumed was an energy collection device turned out to be something far more sophisticated. "This isn't just a power collector," Dr. Park explained. "It's a resonance amplifier. Our star is now functioning as the conductor of our solar system orchestra. Every solar flare, every magnetic field fluctuation, every particle emission is precisely tuned to maintain the harmonic frequencies we need." "Dr. Park," Zefix said carefully, "what you're describing sounds like you've turned your star into a conscious entity." "Not conscious, exactly, but we have established a cooperative relationship with it. Stars want to burn steadily and maintain stable fusion reactions. We've simply helped our sun understand how its natural processes can contribute to systemic harmony. In return, it provides precisely the energy patterns we need." Lieutenant Vex's voice was barely above a whisper. "They've formed an alliance with their star." "Not just their star," Dr. Park said, apparently able to hear their conversation. "We've established cooperative relationships with every major gravitational body in our system. It turns out that planets, moons, and asteroids have natural tendencies towards stable orbital mechanics. We've just helped them achieve a more elegant expression of those tendencies." The display showed real-time readings from across the human solar system. Every measurement indicated stable, efficient operation at levels that should have been impossible. More disturbing to Zefix was the realization that the humans weren't straining their technology to maintain these conditions. Everything appeared to be running well within safe operational parameters. "Commander," Dr. Park continued, "I know this seems impossible from the perspective of conventional galactic science, but humans have always approached problems differently than most species. Instead of trying to dominate our environment, we learn to understand it well enough to ask for its cooperation." "And what happens if your approach fails?" Zefix asked. "What if the dimensional rift doesn't respond to your harmonic frequencies?" "Then we try a different song," Dr. Park replied simply. "We have 17 backup harmonies prepared, each designed to address different potential variations in the rift's quantum signature. And if none of those work, we have a final option that we'd prefer not to use." "Which is?" "We ask the rift what it wants." Tallman's mandibles clicked rapidly. "You would attempt communication with a dimensional anomaly." "Why not? The rift has been growing for over 1 million years, consuming civilizations and spreading chaos. Maybe it's not malevolent, maybe it's just in pain and doesn't know how to stop hurting. Sometimes the best way to heal a wound is to understand what caused it in the first place." The transmission paused while Dr. Park consulted with off-screen colleagues. When he returned, his expression was more serious. "Commander, I'm authorized to share something with you that we haven't told the Galactic Council. The dimensional rift isn't a natural phenomenon. Our analysis indicates that it was created deliberately, probably as a weapon during some ancient conflict. The civilization that built it included a kill switch, but the activation codes were lost when their society collapsed." "You found the kill switch?" "We've found references to it in quantum echoes from the original construction. The weapon was designed to shut down if it encountered a specific harmonic frequency, a frequency that could only be generated by a civilization that had learned to work in cooperation with natural forces rather than trying to dominate them." Zefix felt the pieces clicking into place. The weapon was designed to spare any civilization that had achieved true harmony with their environment. "Exactly. The ancients built in a safeguard to protect species that had evolved beyond the need for cosmic weapons. We think the kill switch frequency can only be generated by a civilization that has learned to make music with reality itself." "And you believe humans have achieved that level of development?" "We're about to find out, Commander. In 18 hours, the dimensional rift will enter our outer system defenses. At that point, either our harmonic frequencies will begin the healing process, or the rift will consume our solar system and continue growing until it eventually devours the galaxy." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge crew in stunned silence. Through the view screen, they could see the leading edge of the dimensional rift approaching the outer boundaries of the Sol system. It appeared as a writhing mass of dark energy that seemed to devour light itself, leaving trails of quantum instability in its wake. But surrounding Earth's solar system, the harmonic frequencies generated by humanity's impossible technology created patterns of light and energy that were beautiful beyond description. Standing waves of pure mathematics made visible rippled through space-time, creating protective barriers that pulsed with the rhythm of cosmic music. "Sir," Lieutenant Vex said quietly, "should we withdraw to a safe distance?" Zephyx considered the question. Imperial protocols demanded that they maintain position at the edge of the system to observe and record whatever happened. But if the humans were wrong, if their attempt to heal the dimensional rift instead accelerated its growth, the survey ship would be consumed along with everything else. "No, Lieutenant, we stay and watch. If humanity succeeds, we need to record how they did it. And if they fail," he paused, looking out at the approaching chaos, "then we need to record their attempt so other species can learn from their courage." In the distance, the dimensional rift continued its approach toward the first of Earth's harmonic defense perimeters. Within hours, the galaxy would discover whether human creativity and cooperation could succeed where millions of years of galactic science and warfare had failed. The music was about to begin. The moment the dimensional rift touched the outer perimeter of Earth's harmonic defense grid, reality itself seemed to pause. Commander Zephyx watched from his bridge as sensors throughout the Imperial fleet registered readings that defied comprehension. The chaotic, destructive energy that had consumed 17 civilizations suddenly encountered something it had never faced before, a song composed of mathematics, gravity, and hope. "Sir," Science Officer Tallman announced, his voice filled with wonder, "the quantum discord patterns in the rift are beginning to stabilize. The harmonic frequencies from the human system are actually having an effect." On the main display, the approaching edge of the dimensional rift looked different than it had moments before. Instead of the writhing chaos that had devoured star systems, sections of the anomaly were beginning to show organized patterns. Waves of destructive energy were synchronizing with the harmonic frequencies emanating from Earth's solar system. "It's working," Lieutenant Vex whispered. "They're actually doing it." But Commander Zephyx noticed something that troubled him. The harmonic resonance was having an effect on the rift, but the process was causing enormous stress on the human defensive systems. Energy readings from their installations were fluctuating wildly, and several of their orbital platforms showed signs of structural fatigue. "Krill, open a channel to Earth immediately." "Channel open, sir." General Chen's image appeared on the screen, but this time the calm composure she had displayed earlier showed cracks of strain. Behind her, the human command center buzzed with frantic activity as technicians worked to maintain the delicate balance of forces keeping their solar system in harmony. "Commander Zephyx, I hope you're recording all of this. Whether we succeed or fail, the galaxy needs to see what's possible when a civilization learns to work with the universe instead of against it. General, our sensors are showing massive stress on your defensive systems. The harmonic resonance is working, but it's tearing your technology apart in the process." "We knew this might happen," Chen replied, though Zephyx could see the worry in her eyes. "The energy levels required to heal a wound this large are beyond what any single solar system should be able to generate. But we have one advantage that previous civilizations lacked. Which is, we're not doing this alone." Before Zephyx could ask what she meant, new contacts began appearing on his sensors. Ships were emerging from hyperspace throughout the Sol system, not human vessels, but sleek craft of obviously alien design. Their energy signatures were unlike anything in Imperial databases. "Sir," Communications Officer Krill announced, "we're receiving transmissions from the approaching vessels. They're claiming to be representatives of Earth's allied civilizations." "Put them through." The image that appeared was of a being that looked vaguely humanoid, but was clearly not from Earth. Its skin had a crystalline quality, and its eyes held depths that suggested vast intelligence and age. "Greetings, Imperial vessels," the being said. "I am Ambassador Veridian of the Kepler Collective. We represent 27 civilizations that have been working in cooperation with Earth for the past 15 years. Zephyx's mind reeled. 27 civilizations, our sensors never detected any alien presence in this system. "Because we learned from humanity the art of working in harmony with natural forces rather than dominating them," Veridian replied. "Our vessels exist in quantum superposition, phased just enough out of normal spacetime to avoid detection by conventional sensors." Another transmission joined the first, this one from a being of pure energy contained within a geometric framework of light. "I am Conductor Azriel of the Harmony Nexus." Earth contacted us 12 years ago with a proposal for a new approach to galactic civilization, one based on cooperation rather than conquest, sharing rather than hoarding, and healing rather than destruction. You're saying, Zephyx said slowly, that humanity has been secretly building an alliance of species that the Empire knows nothing about. Not secretly, General Chen interjected. Privately, there's a difference. We learned from studying galactic history that most interstellar alliances fail because they're based on fear, mutual defense pacts, and resource extraction. We built something different, a network of civilizations united by shared commitment to universal harmony. The display showed the approaching alien vessels taking positions throughout the solar system. But instead of the typical defensive formations used by galactic military forces, they were arranging themselves according to the same harmonic principles governing the human installations. Each member civilization of our alliance, Ambassador Viridian explained, contributes their unique understanding of some aspect of cosmic harmony. The crystalline singers taught us how to make mathematics audible. The phase dancers showed us how to exist partially outside normal time. The quantum gardeners helped us learn to cultivate reality itself. And what did humans contribute to this alliance? Zephyx asked. Hope, Conductor Azrael replied immediately. Every other species we had encountered had accepted the dimensional rift as an inevitable force of nature. Humans were the first to ask the simple question, what if we could fix it? On the sensor displays, the alien vessels began adding their own harmonic frequencies to the solar system's resonance patterns. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Instead of struggling to maintain stability against the dimensional rift's chaotic energy, the combined harmonic network began to actively reshape the anomaly's structure. Sir, Tallman announced, the quantum discord in the rift is resolving at an exponential rate. The alien frequencies are acting as amplifiers for the human harmonic patterns. But as the healing process accelerated, Zephyx noticed something that made his blood run cold. The energy requirements were still enormous, and even with alien assistance, the harmonic network was showing critical strain. General Chen, your power grid is approaching critical failure. Even with your allies' help, you're trying to heal over 1 million years of accumulated damage in a matter of hours. The energy expenditure will destroy your entire civilization. Chen's image flickered as power fluctuations affected the transmission. Commander, we calculated that risk when we began this project, but we also discovered something interesting about the nature of healing. Which is, the more civilizations that participate in the healing process, the less energy each one has to contribute. Harmonic resonance doesn't just add power, it multiplies it exponentially when participants work in true cooperation. What are you suggesting? We're inviting the Galactic Empire to join our harmony. The words hit Zephyx like a physical blow. General, the Empire has 47 galaxies worth of member civilizations. The bureaucratic processes alone would take decades to approve participation in something like this. Not if individual ships and crews make the choice themselves, General Chen replied. Commander, your vessel has quantum resonance capabilities. Your crew could add their frequency to our harmony right now, this moment. But the protocols can be filed later, Chen interrupted. Commander, in the next 6 hours, either we succeed in healing this wound and save countless billions of lives throughout the galaxy, or we fail and the dimensional rift consumes everything. Which is more important, following proper procedures or saving the universe? Zephyx looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him with expressions of hope and determination that he had never seen before. Lieutenant Vex spoke first. Sir, our quantum resonance generators could be recalibrated to match the harmonic frequencies in less than an hour. The technical modifications would be minimal, Science Officer Tallman added, and completely reversible. Sir, Communications Officer Krill said quietly, I'm receiving similar requests for participation from the crews of 17 other Imperial vessels monitoring this system. They're all requesting permission to join the harmony. Zephyx felt the weight of decision pressing down on him. Everything in his training told him to follow established procedures, to request authorization from high command, to act within the bounds of Imperial law. But everything in his hearts told him that some moments transcended bureaucracy. Krill, send a message to high command. Tell them that Imperial Survey Vessel Meridian is joining an emergency humanitarian operation to prevent galactic catastrophe. Authorization requested retroactively. Yes, sir. Vex, begin recalibrating our resonance generators to match human harmonic frequencies. Tallman, coordinate with the other Imperial vessels that want to participate. Aye, sir. As the Imperial ships began adding their own frequencies to the growing harmonic network, the effect on the dimensional rift became visible to the naked eye. The chaotic, destructive energy was transforming into organized patterns of incredible beauty. Waves of healing energy rippled outward from the Sol system, repairing space-time damage that had accumulated over eons. Commander, General Chen said, her voice now filled with joy rather than strain, welcome to the Harmony Alliance. Population, 8 billion humans, 27 allied species, and 17 Imperial starships who decided that cooperation was more important than paperwork. On the display, the dimensional rift was shrinking rapidly as the combined harmonic frequencies healed the ancient wound in reality. But more than that, Zephyx could see waves of healing energy spreading outward through hyperspace, seeking out and repairing quantum damage throughout the galaxy. Sir, Tallman announced with amazement, the healing effect is propagating beyond our local area. Long-range sensors are detecting space-time repairs occurring in sectors where the rift hasn't even arrived yet. That's the beauty of harmony, Ambassador Veridian explained. When enough voices join the song, the music becomes self-sustaining and spreads throughout the universe. As the last traces of the dimensional rift dissolved into stable space-time, Commander Zephyx realized that he was witnessing more than the healing of a cosmic wound. He was watching the birth of a new form of galactic civilization, one based not on conquest and dominance, but on cooperation and universal harmony. The humans had indeed sealed the fate of the galaxy, but not through destruction or conquest. They had sealed it through the simple revolutionary act of asking the universe to help them heal its wounds. 6 months after the healing of the dimensional rift, the Galactic Empire was struggling to adapt to a universe that had fundamentally changed. The emergency session of the High Council had been in continuous session for weeks as representatives tried to understand what humanity had accomplished and what it meant for the future of galactic civilization. Commander Zephyx, recently promoted to Admiral for his role in the healing operation, stood before the assembled delegates. His ship had been one of the first Imperial vessels to join humanity's harmony, and his testimony would help determine the Empire's official response to what historians were already calling the Great Healing. Honored representatives, Admiral Zephyx began, I have submitted comprehensive reports on everything we observed during the healing operation. But data alone cannot convey the magnitude of what humanity achieved. They didn't just stop a cosmic disaster, they demonstrated a completely new approach to existence itself. Grand Admiral Nexus nodded from his position at the high podium. Admiral, your reports indicate that the humans were able to coordinate not just their own species, but 27 different alien civilizations, plus multiple Imperial vessels, all working in perfect harmony. How is such coordination possible without a central command structure? With respect, sir, that question reveals the limitation in our thinking. The humans didn't coordinate the operation through hierarchy or command structures. They created conditions where every participant could contribute their unique strengths toward a shared goal. The coordination emerged naturally from the harmony itself. Counselor Thresh of the Dominion Collective raised his crystalline form. Admiral, you're describing a form of governance that has never been successfully implemented on a galactic scale. How can we verify that this Harmony Alliance can maintain stability over time? Perhaps, said a new voice, you should ask them directly. Every head in the chamber turned toward the speaker. Standing in the observers' gallery was General Chen, accompanied by representatives from several species that the Empire had never encountered before. They had somehow gained access to the most secure facility in Imperial space without triggering any security protocols. General Chen, Grand Admiral Nexus said, his voice carefully controlled. The Council appreciates your willingness to address our questions, but proper diplomatic protocols require. Respectfully, Grand Admiral, Chen interrupted, we followed your protocols. We submitted formal requests for an audience 6 weeks ago. The responses we received indicated that approval would take approximately 8 months, assuming successful completion of 17 different bureaucratic review processes. Those protocols exist for important reasons, Counselor Thresh protested. Security, cultural protection, proper diplomatic preparation are all valuable principles, agreed one of Chen's companions, a being whose form seemed to shift between energy and matter. I am Mediator Kess of the Phase Dancers. We have been observing your empire for several centuries, and we understand the benefits of stable governance. But we have also observed the costs. What costs? Demanded Ambassador Vexter of the Hegemony Remnants. Stagnation, said another of Chen's companions, whose crystalline structure refracted light into complex patterns. I am Harmony Singer Treble of the Crystalline Union. Your empire has existed for 12,000 years with minimal technological or social evolution. You have achieved stability at the expense of growth. Elder Kess of the Ancient Watchers spoke from her position in the council chambers. These accusations are familiar ones. Young species often believe that change equals progress. And old species often believe that survival equals success, General Chen replied respectfully. Elder Kess, I've read the historical records. Your species achieved spaceflight over 2 million years ago. In all that time, have you grown happier, more fulfilled, more connected to the universe around you? The ancient being was silent for a long moment. Happiness and fulfillment are subjective experiences. The empire provides security, order, and prosperity for trillions of beings. It does, Chen agreed, but it doesn't provide hope. When was the last time anyone in this chamber believed that tomorrow could be fundamentally better than today? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Finally, Admiral Zefix spoke. General, during the healing operation, I experienced something that I've never felt in 300 years of Imperial service. For the first time, I believed that we were capable of solving problems that had been considered unsolvable. It wasn't just hope. It was certainty that cooperation could achieve miracles. And that feeling, General Chen said, is spreading throughout the galaxy. The healing waves that repaired the dimensional rift didn't just fix space-time damage. They repaired something else that had been broken for much longer. Which is, Grand Admiral Nexus asked. The connection between civilizations. For millions of years, species have met each other as competitors for resources, territory, or influence. The healing operation proved that we can meet as partners in creating something greater than any of us could achieve alone. Mediator Kess stepped forward. Grand Admiral, the Harmony Alliance extends an invitation to the Galactic Empire. Not to join our governance structure, we don't have one in any sense you would recognize, but to participate in cooperative projects that benefit all species. What kind of projects? Counselor Thresh asked suspiciously. Harmony Singer Treble manipulated light patterns to create a three-dimensional display in the center of the chamber. Healing projects. The dimensional rift was not the only wound in reality. Our surveys have identified 17 other locations where spacetime has been damaged by ancient wars or failed experiments. Each represents a potential threat to galactic stability. We're offering to share the healing techniques, General Chen added. Not the technology, the philosophy. We want to teach other species how to work in harmony with natural forces instead of fighting against them. And what do you want in return? Ambassador Vexter demanded. Nothing, Chen said simply. That's the point. Harmony doesn't require payment or exchange, it requires participation. Grand Admiral Nexus leaned forward. General, your proposal sounds idealistic, but the Empire has responsibilities to trillions of beings. We cannot risk destabilizing our governmental structures based on untested philosophies. We're not asking you to destabilize anything, Chen replied. We're asking individual ships, stations, and colonies to participate in cooperative healing projects. The Empire's government can continue functioning exactly as it has, but your people can choose to be part of something larger. You're talking about creating a parallel power structure, Counselor Thresh accused. No, said Admiral Zefix, understanding dawning in his voice. They're talking about creating something that isn't a power structure at all. Exactly, General Chen confirmed. The Harmony Alliance has no central government, no military hierarchy, no territorial claims. We're a network of civilizations that have learned to work together toward common goals. But how do you make decisions? How do you resolve conflicts? How do you maintain order? Grand Admiral Nexus's voice carried the confusion of someone whose entire worldview was being challenged. The same way a symphony orchestra creates music without anyone forcing them to play together, harmony singer Treble replied. When everyone understands their part and trusts their colleagues, harmony emerges naturally. Admiral Zephyx, Elder Kess said slowly, you participated in this harmony directly. What was it like? Zephyx searched for words to describe an experience that transcended normal language. Elder, imagine if every member of your crew understood not just their own responsibilities, but how their work connected to everyone else's. Imagine if every decision was made with complete information about its effects on the whole system. Imagine if cooperation felt as natural as breathing. It sounds too good to be true, Ambassador Vexter said skeptically. It sounds too good not to try, Admiral Zephyx replied. Elder Kess, honored representatives, we have an opportunity to be part of something unprecedented in galactic history. The humans have proven that their approach works on a solar system scale. The Harmony Alliance has proven it can work across multiple species and civilizations. The question is whether we're brave enough to find out what's possible when 47 galaxies worth of civilizations learn to work together. The council chamber fell silent as the representatives contemplated possibilities that their governmental structures had never been designed to handle. Finally, Elder Kess spoke. General Chen, the Ancient Watchers will participate in your healing projects, not as representatives of the Empire, but as individuals seeking to understand what you have discovered about cooperation and harmony. The Phase Dancers welcome the Ancient Watchers, Mediator Kess replied. Your wisdom will strengthen the harmony. One by one, other representatives began volunteering their species for participation. Not official government endorsement, but personal commitment to explore what humanity had made possible. General, Grand Admiral Nexus said finally, the Empire cannot officially endorse your alliance. Our governmental structures are not equipped to handle the kind of radical cooperation you describe, but we will not forbid our citizens from participating as individuals. That's all we ask, General Chen replied. Harmony cannot be imposed from above. It has to grow from the choices of individual beings who decide that cooperation is more powerful than competition. As the council session ended, and representatives began planning their participation in humanity's healing projects, Admiral Zephyx realized that he was witnessing the transformation of galactic civilization itself. Not through conquest or revolution, but through the simple revolutionary act of proving that a better way was possible. The humans had indeed sealed the fate of the galaxy. They had sealed it to a future where species worked together to heal the wounds of the past and create possibilities that none of them could imagine alone. The age of competition was ending. The age of harmony had begun. Outside the council chambers, the first ships of the new Galactic Harmony Fleet were already forming, their crews representing dozens of species united not by law or treaty, but by shared commitment to healing the universe itself. The music of the spheres had found its voice at last, and it was singing a song of hope that could be heard across all the stars.